Mid-period James Taylor, Copperline, 1991, from a really cool album. An album I got quite a bit after it came out, but I was really glad I went back and revisited James' middle period after kind of the early period up through like Gorilla, One Man Dog. Anyway, who cares? New Moonshine. Great album, and the title of the album actually comes from a line in this song. Now, Copperline is another one of his sort of throwback to things he remembers from North Carolina growing up and stuff. You know, tomato wine, and anyway, it's just it's got some great lyrics. A lot of James' normal kind of licks. It's done with a capo at the second fret in the key of D, so he's thinking D, and all of his kind of normal chords, but James uses some unorthodox fingerings. In particular, I'll talk about this more, I'll go through all the chords in the next segment, but he of course plays his D chords kind of upside down how most people would play them, meaning first finger is not on the third string, it's on the first string, and then the second finger reaches over it. So he plays a lot of chords where his first finger is tucked in under, I would almost call this a crossover fingering or something, where the first finger is tucked in under the other two that are reaching over it frequently at the same fret. Same thing with like an A chord. He would play his A minors the way normally most of us would, but he would make it major by just moving his first finger up to the second fret. And that's the finger he does his signature hammer-ons with. So for most people that's a little bit difficult, but you can learn to do it. So, and in the case of Copperline, it's kind of important to be able to do that hammer-on the D, and then move your first finger down to the B and the bass, giving us the equivalent of basically a B minor 7 chord. We'll talk a little bit more about the names of the chords as we run through them. But anyway, so that's the main little thing that's going on there. Now he's got a little half strum, almost frailing type thing going on with the right hand, where he's hitting some bass notes with his thumb, and then doing sometimes individual notes, but sometimes little brushes. And I like to do those brushes. I'll break this down a little bit more too coming up. Those brushes when I do a down, it's going to be with my middle two fingers, my second and third fingers. When I do a up, it's going to be with my index finger. So the index finger is going to be brushing up sometimes, and the middle fingers will be brushing down. Just to get just on a D chord, the way this might work, for example, is a 4-stroke pattern, hitting the bass note, the third string with your index finger, a light brush down with your middle fingers, and then a really light brush up with your index finger. And if you just alternate down to the B and the bass, without worrying about the hammer-on that will break down again, so that is pretty much the technique you're going to need to play this tune. It's a standard song. We've got a verse and a chorus and a bridge with some unusual chords that sound pretty vague, I guess. Got a G major 9 in there. Anyway, that's it for the little preview of Copperline here. Coming up, we will break it down. I will break it down into a whole bunch of parts.